Welcome back, Formula Dream aficionados and friends. We are so excited to return for another thrilling season of the greatest motorsport show on Earth. The 2025 installment of Formula One is finally here. And what better place to kick off the drama than Melbourne, Australia? But here's a question for you. What makes the Australian Grand Prix one of the most unpredictable races on the calendar? Think about it. This race has produced huge crashes, shock winners, and legendary moments that have shaped the sport. From controversial victories to season-defining chaos, Melbourne has seen it all. And today, we're going to look into what makes this Grand Prix so special, from its history to its biggest moments. But before we get into it, if you love F1 and want more deep dives into the sport's greatest stories, hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. Now, let's start with the city that makes it all possible, Melbourne. As we know, Formula One is not just about the racing, it's about the spectacle, the energy, and the culture. And Melbourne delivers all of that in its own unique style. Every March, this vibrant city comes alive with Formula One fever. Fans flood the streets. The waterfront hums with excitement, and the air buzzes with anticipation. Melbourne has a way of making the season opener feel special. Albert Park isn't just a track, it's a temporary masterpiece built around a stunning lake just minutes from the city centre. And for those visiting, the action doesn't stop at the circuit. Whether it's exploring Federation Square, catching a game at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, or diving into the city's famous laneway cafes, there's no shortage of things to do. This race has become one of the most iconic openers in F1 history, setting the tone for the season ahead. But how did Melbourne earn its place on the calendar? That takes us to the fascinating history of the Australian Grand Prix. The Australian Grand Prix is one of the oldest races in motorsport, dating back to 1928. But its journey to becoming a Formula One staple is filled with twists, turns, as well as game-changing moments. For years, the race was held on various circuits across Australia, but in 1985, it finally found a home in Adelaide. That street circuit became legendary, not just for its tight corners and demanding layout, but for its dramatic championship showdowns. Who could forget Schumacher and Hill's infamous clash in 1994 that sealed Michael Schumacher's first title? Then, in 1996, Melbourne took over, and the Australian Grand Prix was reborn. Albert Park, with its high-speed straights and tricky braking zones, quickly became a driver favourite. And from the very first race, when Damon Hill stormed to victory, it was clear this was the perfect season opener. Since then, we've seen it all. Shock winners like Eddie Irvine in 1999 and Jenson Button in 2010. Massive pile-ups, including the chaotic 2002 start that wiped out nearly half the grid. Dramatic controversies like Daniel Ricciardo's heartbreaking disqualification in 2014. Albert Park has a habit of throwing surprises at drivers, making it one of the most unpredictable races on the calendar. But why exactly is this track so challenging? That's what we'll explore next. Albert Park may look picturesque, but don't be fooled. This track is an absolute beast. Unlike purpose-built circuits, this is a street track, meaning the surface is bumpy, unpredictable, and constantly evolving throughout the weekend. Drivers must balance aggression with precision, threading the needle between walls that leave zero room for error. The first sector is fast and flowing, but the real test comes in the high-speed chicanes of turns 9 and 10, where braking too late can mean disaster. Then there's turn 11, a brutal challenge requiring drivers to commit at full throttle while battling tyre degradation. And if that wasn't enough, overtaking here is tough. There are a few prime spots, turns 1, 3 and 13, but defending is just as crucial. That's why strategy plays such a massive role in Melbourne. Pit stops, tyre choices and safety cars can change everything in an instant. Albert Park has caught out even the best. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel have all fallen victim to its challenges. But when it all comes together, it's one of the most rewarding tracks on the calendar. Over the years, Albert Park has delivered some of Formula One's most unforgettable moments. One of the biggest shocks came in 2002, when the first race of the season saw 8 cars eliminated in a single corner. A chaotic start, a massive pile-up, and a race that set the tone for a wild year ahead. Then there was 2009, when the new regulations saw an underdog rise to glory. Brawn GP, a team that almost didn't exist a few weeks earlier, took a stunning 1-2 finish, with Jenson Button leading the charge. It was a moment that reshaped F1 history. And who could forget 2023? A race so chaotic, it had 4 red flags, the most ever in F1. Collisions, controversial rulings, and a last-lap standing start that threw the entire grid into chaos. It was the perfect example of why Melbourne is always unpredictable. This race isn't just the start of a new season, it's a battleground where legends are made, dreams are crushed, and anything can happen. But with so much history behind it, what does the future hold for the Australian Grand Prix? Let's take a look at what's next. Melbourne's place in F1 has been challenged before, with rumours swirling about other cities wanting a piece of the action. Could Sydney or even a return to Adelaide ever happen? It's unlikely. Albert Park's contract runs until 2037, securing its place as one of the premier events on the calendar. But what's next for the race itself? Track, modifications, new technologies, and even sustainability efforts are all part of the conversation. F1 is pushing for a greener future, and Melbourne is embracing the change, with hybrid energy usage and carbon-neutral initiatives coming into play. And let's not forget the next generation of Aussie talent. With Oscar Piastri making waves and a growing fan base behind him, the Australian Grand Prix could soon witness another home hero battling at the front. One thing's for sure, Melbourne isn't going anywhere, and the drama at Albert Park will keep delivering for years to come. From chaotic races to unforgettable moments, the Australian Grand Prix never fails to deliver. Every year we return to Melbourne knowing one thing: expect the unexpected. Will 2025 bring another shock winner? A dramatic crash? A title-defining moment? Only time will tell. Hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth Formula One content. We've got plenty more stories, analysis, and behind-the-scenes insights coming your way. What's your favourite Australian Grand Prix moment? Drop it in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Formula Dream signing off.